Hello and welcome to lecture 27 of Math 1B03. In today's lecture, we're going to be looking at section 4.6 in the textbook on the rank and nullity theorem. So the new idea today here is going to be the rank. And what we're going to be doing is we're going to be relating the dimension of the column space with the dimension of the null space of a matrix. So everything we're talking about is specific really to spaces coming from matrices. And one of the other things that we're going to do today is introduce a new space that you can create from a matrix. Okay, so make myself disappear. And let's first talk about the row space of a matrix. So just to kind of a quick recap, we've talked about given a matrix, here we have a matrix A, and let's say it's an m by m matrix, and these are the columns, it has n columns. And the column space of that matrix is simply the span of all the columns, right? So it's the span of columns A1 through AN. But if you stop and think about it for a minute, there's nothing special about the columns. You could actually do the exact same thing for the rows. So for example, I have a matrix A here. It's a 3 by 4 matrix, and I'm going to do it this way. I'm going to set R1 to be the vector that you get by taking the first row and taking its transpose, right? So we want to think of that as the vector 1, 2, 3, 4. And then you want to do that for all the other guys. Row 2 will be the transpose of 2, 4, 6, 7. And row 3 will be the transpose of 3, 8, 9, and 10. And so the row space of this matrix, so the row space of A, and we're going to write it as row A, is simply going to be the span of the corresponding rows, right? R1, R2, and R3. So we did this kind of operation for the columns of a matrix, but we can do the exact same thing for the rows of a matrix. And one thing you want to observe is that if you take the matrix that we started with, so let me go right back here, this matrix A, and over in the top right-hand corner, we have the transpose of that matrix. When you were to take the transpose of this matrix, and then you figure out the column space of your matrix, okay, so if you look at the column space of your matrix, this is the exact same thing as the row space of your matrix. So one way to think about the row space of a matrix is really the column space of the transpose. And so we make this a little bit more precise. So if A is an m by n matrix, the row space of A, denoted row A, is the space, all right, maybe I should say subspace, of Rn, because each entry has n elements spanned by the columns of A transpose, okay? i.e., the row space of A is by definition the column space of the transpose. And now we have a theorem here about telling me about how A and B, if they're row equivalent, so that means that A can be obtained by B using elementary row operations. How are their row spaces related? Well, their row spaces are exactly the same. So then the row space of A is equal to the row space of B. And furthermore, we have that if B is in echelon form, then the non-zero rows, of B form a basis for row A and row B. Okay, so you can find this statement in the textbook. So kind of the takeaway here is that I have two matrices that are row equivalent. And if I do a row operation, I'm not changing the row space. And furthermore, if you can put that second matrix into echelon form, then you can actually get a basis for all of your spaces that you get by doing row operations. And why is this? Roughly why does this work? Well, it works because the rows B are linear combinations of rows of A. Okay, so this is the rough idea of why this works. It's because when you do a row operation to move A to change A to B, what you're doing is you're kind of doing a row you're doing a row operation corresponds to doing uh, a rewriting your basis elements of A in terms of the basis elements of B. So that's kind of what's hiding in the background. We're not going to go into all those gory details, but the point for this first part is that there's this notion of the row space of a matrix, which is a subspace you get by looking at the span of the rows. So we'll take a little break here, and then we'll talk about how to find the basis for row A, and then correspondingly, how do you find the dimension of the row space of A.